Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Michael, and today our group will present about a past analysis of the education industry during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic caused major disruption to the education sector worldwide, forcing schools, colleges, and universities to close temporarily due to lockdowns and health restrictions. As a result, educational institutions had to rapidly shift from traditional face-to-face learning to online and remote learning methods. While this transition creates challenges such as unequal access to technology, reduced student engagement, and learning disruptions, it also accelerated the adoption of digital learning platforms and educational technologies. Even after the pandemic, many institutions continue to use hybrid and technology-driven learning approaches. In this presentation, we will analyze how political, economic, social, and technological factors have influenced the education industry during and after COVID-19, and how these factors continue to shape the future of education. That's all from me. Now I'll pass it to my fellow group member. Thank you.
Hi everyone, myself Mughila. I'm from Group 1. Today I will briefly introduce the education industry. The education industry provides knowledge and skill, support economic development and includes school, colleges, university and vocational institutions. Before COVID-19, learning was mainly conducted face-to-face with direct integration between teachers and students as well as access to library, lab and group activities. In Malaysia, the education sector consists of government and private institutions, including and leading universities such as University of Malaya, National University of Malaysia, and University Technology Malaysia. Hi everyone, I will briefly discuss the impact of COVID-19 on the education industry. The COVID-19 pandemic caused major changes in education worldwide. Schools, colleges, and universities were forced to close and learning shift to classroom to the online platforms such as Zoom, Google, and Microsoft Teams. However, the transition created several challenges. Many students face poor internet access and lack suitable device for online learning. Teachers and students also needed time to adapt to new teaching and learning method. In addition, student engagement and social integration were reduced due to the lack of face-to-face communication. Despite the challenges, COVID-19 also accelerated the use of educational technology. Online learning became more common and many institutions now use hybrid learning model to combine both online and physical classes. COVID-19 transformed the education industry and changed how teaching and learning are delivered, creating both challenges and opportunities for the future. Thank
I'll be
you.
presenting the political factors that affected the education industry during the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic forced governments to make quick decisions to ensure that education could continue despite school closures. One of the biggest strengths was the rapid implementation of online learning. The Ministry of Education introduced online teaching guidelines while schools and universities quickly adapted platforms such as Google Meet, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams. The government also provided digital learning resources, organized teacher training programs, and invested in digital infrastructures and internet connectivity. These initiatives helped teachers to continue delivering lessons and allowed students to continue learning from home, reducing disruptions to education. However, there were also several weaknesses during the pandemic. Government policies changed frequently as the situation evolved. Schools were repeatedly closed and reopened, and examination formats were modified several times. These constant changes created confusion and uncertainty for students, parents, and teachers. In addition, not all students had equal access to online education. Many rural areas experienced poor internet connectivity, and some families could not afford laptops, tablet, or other digital devices. As a result, many students struggle to participate effectively in online learning, leading to unequal learning opportunities. Overall, government policies played a crucial role in ensuring education continued during the pandemic, while they encouraged digital transformation and improved the education system resilience. Challenges such as unequal access and policy uncertainty highlighted areas that require further improvement for future crises. I will discuss the economic factors that affected the education industry during COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic created significant financial challenges for both families and educational institutions. Many parents experience as loss of income or reduced salaries, make it difficult to purchase laptops, tablets, and other devices needed for online learning. On top of that, internet subscription costs become an additional financial burden for many households. Educational institutions also faced higher operation costs. Schools or universities and had to invest in online learning platforms, strengthen cybersecurity, provide staff training, and implement health and safety measures when campuses reopened. Many private schools and colleges also experienced lower student enrollment and delayed tuition fee payments, which affected their financial stability. Despite these challenges, the pandemic also created several opportunities. The rapid growth of online education encouraged the use of e-learning platforms, virtual classrooms, and blended learnings where online and face-to-face teaching are combined. To reduce the financial impact on students, many institutions introduced flexible tuition payment plans, scholarships, and financial aid programs. At the time, the education industry expanded rapidly due to the increasing demand for digital learning tools and innovative educational technologies, providing better learning experiences for students and teachers. In conclusion, although the pandemic placed heavy financial pressure on families and educational institutions, it also accelerated digital transformation and encouraged innovations, making the education sector more flexible, better prepared for the future.
Hello. This slide explains about the social impact of COVID-19 on the during the pandemic. So education shifted from traditional classroom learning to online learning. Platforms such as Google Classroom, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams became essential tools for teaching and learning. However, not all students had equal access to devices and the internet, creating a digital divide. Many students also experienced stress, isolation, and lower motivation while studying from home because it's a hard way to understanding. On the positive side, parents became more involved in their children's education and awareness of student mental health increased. Overall, COVID 19 transformed the education into a more flexible, digital, and student centered system. That's all from me. Thank you.
A very good day. My name is MUNESWARAN and SANDRAGESH. My metric number is UN2500156. Today, I'd like to present on my part for the past analysis for COVID-19 period based on the education sector. For my part, I would like to explain on the technological factor for past analysis, where there are two parts which is strength and weakness. For the strength, firstly, learning continuity, where it minimizes the disruption to teaching and learning activities, followed by the flexible learning method, where students could learn anytime and anywhere using their mobile phone. Thirdly, access to the digital resources, where increase of availability for e-books, online libraries, and recorded lectures during this pandemic period, and improve digital skills where increase of familiarity with online communication and collaboration tools. And lastly, for the innovation in education, where promoted interactive and technological based learning experience. For the other side, which is weakness, firstly, digital divide, where unequal access to internet connectivity and digital devices, and followed by the limited teacher readiness, where many educated has lack of experience with online teaching methods, and it makes a bit difficult for the student to be understand what lectures teaches. And student engagement issues, where difficulty on maintaining the attention and motivation during the online classes. Technical problems, where internet disruption and platform failures affected the learning, where most of the rural areas has affected. And lastly, health and security concerns, where cybersecurity and data risk became a more prominent concern for the students. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Hi, I am NEELESHWARAN and I will be presenting the overall analysis and discussion. So, moving on to the overall analysis and discussion, the COVID 19 pandemic significantly transformed the education industry. The political, economic, social, and technological factors were closely connected and collectively influenced how educational institutions responded to the crisis. Firstly, political factors such as government lockdowns, school closures, and health regulations forced schools and universities to shift from traditional classroom teaching to online learning, and this decision directly increased the importance of technology in education. And secondly, economic factors created financial challenges for both students and educational institutions, and many families experienced income reductions or job losses, making it difficult to afford devices and internet access. At the same time, schools and universities had to invest heavily in digital infrastructure and online learning systems. And from social perspective, the transition to online learning changed the way students and teachers interacted. Although online education offered flexibility, it also reduced face-to-face communication and affected student motivation, mental health, and overall learning experiences. However, it also increased awareness of student well-being and encouraged greater parental involvement in education. So, next, the technology became the foundation that allowed education to continue during the pandemic, and platforms such as Zoom, Google Classroom, and Microsoft Teams enabled learning to take place despite physical restriction. In addition, both students and educators developed stronger digital skills. Overall, the digital industry demonstrated remarkable resilience and adaptability, and educational institutions successfully embraced digital technologies and innovative teaching methods to ensure learning continuity. While challenges such as the digital divide, financial pressures, and mental health concerns remain, the pandemic also created opportunities for long term improvement through educational technology, blended learning, and stronger digital infrastructure. And that's all from my part. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Devyani here. To conclude, the COVID 19 pandemic has changed the education industry in many ways. As we discussed earlier, political, economic, social, and technological factors all played an important role during the pandemic. Although the education sector faced challenges such as financial problem, learning distribution, and unequal access to technologies is adapt quickly by using online learning and digital performance. This helped students continue their education during a difficult time. Looking ahead, hybrid learning, better digital infrastructure, and continuous innovation will improve the quality of education and make learning more flexible and accessible for everyone. Overall, the pandemic is not only created challenges but also encourage positive changes that will benefit the education industry in the future. That's all from